Hello, thanks for joining us on the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Comfort Amodu. Here are the headlines. Reactions as presidential election petition court upholds Bola Tinubu's victory as duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Judgment has been delivered, but we have not received justice.
Nigerian government assures Indian investors conducive business environment at G20 summit.
Bring it on. I have a team, and I am the captain of that team. I assure you, we solve problems.
National Human Rights Commission applauds Nigerian Army for counterinsurgency operations. The federal government promises provision of world-class aviation services to enhance safety of passengers. Thanks for joining us. Gabon's former president, Ali Bongo, who was ousted, is free to leave the country and travel abroad. The leader of the coup that toppled him said last week, Wednesday, Ali Bongo, who had been in power for 14 years, has been under house arrest since the military coup of August 30, carried out without bloodshed less than an hour after his party proclaimed his re-election in a vote described as fraudulent by coupists. Recall that Ali Bongo took office in 2009, succeeding his father Omar Bongo, who ruled the country for some 41 years, gaining a reputation for iron-fisted rule and kleptocracy. He was re-elected in bitterly disputed circumstances in 2016, but 2 years later suffered a stroke that weakened his grip on power. Let's now go to the judiciary with the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja affirming the declaration and return of Bola Tinubu Ahmed as the duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A 5-man panel of justices led by Justice Haruna Simon Samani gave the verdict in a unanimous decision of the court on the 3 consolidated petitions. Dele Atumbi reports that the court dismissed all the 3 consolidated petitions for lacking in merit. The petitions dismissed are that of the Allied People's Movement, Peter Obi, Labour Party, and that of Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. The 5-man panel of justices affirmed the equality of votes cast all across the country.
The 2023 presidential election on the 25th February, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was declared and returned as president. 5 political parties and their candidates filed petitions before the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja. The petitioners at the initial stage were Action People's Party, Action Alliance, Allied People's Movement, Atiku Abubakar and PDP, as well as Peter Obi and Labour Party. During the pre-hearing section, Action People's Party and Action Alliance withdrew their petitions. The 3 remaining petitions were consolidated by the order of the court in line with paragraph 50 of the first schedule of the Electoral Act 2022. In the petition filed by Atiku Abubakar and PDP, the petitioners called 27 witnesses and tendered several documents. In its verdict, the Presidential Election Petition Court resolved all the 4 issues in the petition against the petitioners. In a well-considered verdict, the court dismissed all the 3 consolidated petitions for lacking in merit.
Today is a great day for Nigeria. The Nigerian judiciary had proved itself to be the guardians for justice and fairness against the sirens of deception. It's a battle between the will of the people and the forces of misinformation and disinformation. But democracy has finally triumphed.
Counsel to Atiku Abubakar and that of Peter Obi react.
The judgment has been delivered, but we have not received justice. Luckily, the Constitution has given us the right to go on appeal. This is a court of first instance, to go on appeal to the Supreme Court.
Our clients are dissatisfied with the judgment, and they have given us instruction to go on appeal.
The petitioners filed their petitions on 21st March 2023. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
And the Presidential Election Petition Court has dismissed a petition of Allied People's Movement and that of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Peter Obi. Justice Simon Samani, who led the 5-man panel of justices, gave the verdict in Abuja. Austin Anyebe was there.
The first judgment delivered was on the petition filed by the Allied People's Movement, challenging the declaration of President Bola Tinubu as the winner of the February 25th presidential election. The court, in its judgment delivered by Justice Haruna Samani, held that the grounds of the petition of APM was an invalid nomination of Senator Kashim Shettima by President Tinubu as his running mate, being that as at the time of his nomination, he was the serving senator representing Borno Central Senatorial District, and that APC ought to have conducted a fresh primary election to nominate him as a vice presidential candidate. After considering the submission made before it by the petitioner and the respondents, the court held that the issue of qualification and non-qualification of a candidate for an election is stipulated in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Aside the issue of invalid nomination is a pre-election matter which the petitioner should have taken it up at the Federal High Court, as the Election Petitions Court lacks jurisdiction. It went further to say that APC needed not conduct any fresh primary election to elect a vice presidential candidate, as it is within the constitutional power of the presidential candidate to nominate his running mate. The court cited the decision of the Supreme Court on the issue of double nomination of the vice president, saying its decision is a finality on the matter and thereby dismissed the petition for lack of merit and incompetence. On the petition by the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, the court formulated 4 issues for determination. The first was on the criminal allegations against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having been alleged by the petitioner to have forfeited the sum of $460,000 to the U.S. government through a district court, and thereby not eligible to have stood the presidential election. The court examined the evidence adduced by the petitioner and the respondent's counsel and resolved it in favor of the respondents, saying the law is clear that anyone sentenced, convicted, or fined by any tribunal or court is not qualified to stand an election for any political office. But evidence presented before the court showed that the president was never arraigned, sentenced, convicted, or fined for any criminal breach, hence qualified to have contested the election. On issue number 2, which bordered on non-substantial compliance with the Electoral Act, the court held that the allegation of non-compliance was not proven by the petitioner. The court said that it was wrong for the petitioner to say INEC was bound to transmit election results electronically, saying there is nowhere in Electoral Act 2022 where it was stated that INEC must transmit election results electronically, but rather a creation in INEC regulation set out for conduct of elections. Chronicling the evidence of the witnesses on the allegation of manipulation of results and overvoting at polling units by the petitioner, the court held that no specific polling unit where such manipulation took place that was mentioned before the court. Instead, the petitioner relied on Forms EC8 results from some states and merely dumped them. On the allegation that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not duly elected for failing to get 25% of votes in the Federal Capital Territory, the Election Petition Court held that it was a mere technical interpretation of the constitutional provision by the petitioner that the word "and" as interpreted by them to mean FCT has a distinct status from other states of the Federation, is completely fallacious, if not ridiculous. It is their view that 25% in the FCT is not a separate condition for a declaration in a presidential election. The court, after resolving all the issues in favor of the respondents, declared the petition by Peter Obi and the Labour Party as incompetent and lack merit. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured Nigerians of his renewed and energized focus on delivering his vision of a unified, peaceful and prosperous nation following the judgment by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja. A statement issued by Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngilali, states that President Tinubu welcomes the judgment of the tribunal with an intense sense of solemn responsibility and preparedness to serve all Nigerians irrespective of all diverse political persuasions, faiths and tribal identities. The President recognizes the diligence and undaunted thoroughness and professionalism of five-member bench led by Justice Haruna Samani in interpreting the law. The President believes the presidential candidate and political parties that have lawfully exercised their rights by participating in the 2023 general elections and the judicial process which followed have affirmed Nigerians' democratic credentials. Our former President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed his happiness with ruling of the Presidential Elections Petitions Court, confirming the victory of the All Progressives Congress and its candidate, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his ruling mate, Vice President Kashim Shettima, in the February 25th election. The former president said the court has written history by spurring intimidation and all manner of prejudice to deliver justice according to law and to a majority of citizens whose wish is that the choices they made are respected. And the former president also voiced his appreciation to all citizens for maintaining peace throughout this period and prayed for continued progress and development under the APC government. He sends warm congratulations to the president, the vice president, and all the Progressives Congress on the victory in court, expressing his best wishes to them in fulfilling the people's aspirations. And Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barrow Jibrin, has hailed the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, affirming the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Senator Barrow, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ismail Mudashir, said the judgment of the tribunal has affirmed or reaffirmed the choice of Nigerians on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The five-member tribunal chaired by Justice Haruna Samani had on Wednesday upheld the election of President Tinubu while calling on all to accept the outcome of the tribunal. He asked Nigerians, irrespective of party differences, need to team up with the president or the president's administration to address the challenges facing the country. He reiterated the commitment of the parliament to come up with legislations to support the various initiatives of the executive in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu. In Kogi State, the governor, Yahaya Bello, has also congratulated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima on their victory at the Presidential Election Petition Court. Governor Bello says the triumph at the tribunal stands as a testament to the resilience of Nigeria's democratic institutions and reaffirmed that our courts remain the hope of the common man. Also, Ogun State Governor Dakbo Abiodun has congratulated President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima on their victory at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Governor Abiodun said the tribunal's verdict is an affirmation of the trust reposed in the president by Nigerians, as evident in the outcome of the presidential election. A coalition of good governance and change initiative has described the victory of APC at the Presidential Election Petition Court as the reaffirmation of the people's choice during the recent presidential poll at a peace protest to the court. The coalition says President Tinubu remains the popular candidate as affirmed by the court, and urged all the parties challenging the outcome of the 25th February election to close ranks with the administration in achieving the renewed hope mantra of the president.
People and move on with the president. The president is a welcoming president. You can see from Olabode George, who was all out criticizing the president, even declaring that if President Tinubu become president, he will relocate to Ghana. Today he's still in Nigeria, enjoying the dividends of democracy under the Asiwaju administration. So we are saying that Atiku, Peter Obi, of course, Kwankwaso are all welcome to be part of the administration, as all what we want is to ensure the success and progress of the Nigerian system.
In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party says it has reviewed the judgment delivered by the Presidential Election Petition Court and unequivocally rejected it in its entirety. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagbai, in a statement said the judgment is against reason, against the facts and evidence presented in court, against the relevant electoral laws, guidelines and regulations, as well as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria of 1999 as amended. It emphasized that the judgment is generous in technicalities and very short in delivering substantial justice in the matter. The PDP, as a law-abiding political party with its lawyers, the statement explained, had a comprehensive review of the judgment and will decide on the next line of action within the ambit of the law. The PDP called on Nigerians to remain alert, calm and united as the party continued to lead the charge to defend democracy. The Kano State High Court has granted an interim injunction restraining former Publicity Secretary of the new Nigerian People's Party, Gilbert Major Agbo, and his group from presenting themselves as interim chairman and leaders of the party pending the determination of the motion on notice. The court also set aside the suspension of the national leader of the party, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. David Ayre has more.
The motion filed by the NNPP seeks to stop the Major Agbo-led faction from parading as members of the NWC and acting in any other capacity as members of the party. Justice Usman Malam Naba granted the order pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice.
It is an open secret that these former members are not backed by law in all they are doing. The arrowheads of this onslaught have ceased to be members of the party by virtue of their suspension or expulsion. However, in view of the backing they are getting from the opposition, we need to use the instrumentalities of the law to protect the sanctity of the party.
Meanwhile, immediate past chairman of the party, Professor Rufai Ahmed Akali, has resigned his membership of the party over the emergence of factions working against each other. Professor Akali, who chaired the party between April 2022 and 31st March 2023, lamented that the party has slipped deeper into avoidable crises and conflicts, leading to several cases of suspension and counter-suspension of key leaders, harsh press war, accusation and counter-accusation. The NWC acknowledged Professor Akali's resignation, noting that he has the right to political affinity. In Abuja, David Ayre, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu is assuring Indian investors that Nigeria is more than ever safe and ready for business, with his administration creating conducive business climate for local and foreign investors. President Tinubu addressed investors at the Nigerian-India Presidential Roundtable and Business Conference on the sidelines of the G20 Leaders Summit in India. State House correspondent Musba Nawahai reports.
President Bola Tinubu is a special guest at the G20 Leaders Summit, but is here not only leveraging the platform, but also owning them to market the investment opportunities in the largest African economy.
Definitely, we are open for business. You've heard it. We have capable, intelligent, and highly committed individuals and the government to drive the economy of Nigeria and to be able to give you the best return possible. There's nowhere else. You pinch penny in America and any other part of the world. Nigeria offers the best return on investment as it today. So invest.
Is equally strengthening the existing trade relations, staging an interface between Nigerian investors and their Indian counterparts, with investments in oil and gas, steel, telecommunications, among other sectors. Indian companies are second largest employers of labor in Nigeria. And now it is more reassuring as the president promises to expunge all challenges inhibiting ease of doing business in the country.
Don't be frightened about investments in Nigeria. Bring it on. I have a team, and I am the captain of that team. I assure you, we solve problems.
It's already a work in progress, with some policy decisions of the current administration enhancing ease of doing business, and the Indian investors are ready to plug in.
For you to take that head on and create a single foreign exchange rate and create an atmosphere where foreign investment can feel comfortable coming in. Because if you invest and can't take your money out, it becomes a big dampener. You understand that, and you took a very important step in that regard.
This exchange must continue through our schools, both physically and virtually. Nollywood and Nigeria's film industry could do closer collaboration with Bollywood.
We welcome you to continue to invest in the Nigerian economy, create jobs in Nigeria, reduce the dependence on foreign exchange, and as you say, even allow Nigeria to be an exporter of manufactured goods.
We in the Ministry for Trade and Investment have embarked on reviewing and reforming our trade policies and our agreements to protect you and to also encourage you to come in.
The amazing things that you've done with technology here, changing government services, helping to save costs, but also ensuring that citizens can have access to good services as well. It's something that our president desires. And we're looking for ways to learn from how you've done it to ensure that we can take that back to Nigeria.
Nigeria-India trade volume hit about $15 billion in 2022. That is now about to witness an increase, with 3 MOUs signed among partners, 2 on information technology and 1 on infrastructure development. From New Delhi, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
Many thanks, Musbal. Let's take a break now. More reports ahead. Stay tuned.
We set standards based on current broadcast realities while consolidating on a wider reach to variety of audiences.
We go beyond the screaming headlines to verify, interrogate, and accommodate all shades of opinion without prejudice to national interest.
Our well-researched, packaged, and live programs keep you abreast of events, personalities, and current affairs.
Welcome back. Let's now connect with our colleague again in New Delhi, India. All right, before we do that, let's bring you developments around the business space as Nigerians applaud President Bola Tinubu's economic and fiscal policies, which includes tax reforms aimed at repositioning the nation for better. However, they are charging him to do more to alleviate the hardship in the country. These sentiments were expressed in Lokoja as residents examine the president's first 100 days in office. Solomon Ayede reports.
May 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was inaugurated as the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces. During his inauguration, he announced a series of measures aimed at revitalizing the economy and promoting national peace and development. Some of these measures included the removal of oil subsidy and unification of the exchange rate, to name just a few. Now, 100 days into his presidency, Nigerians are filled with optimism that the future will be brighter than the past.
I believe very strongly that the road to the future of democracy in Nigeria is very strong, and people should expect more perfections, either in the election processes, post-election, management of governance and all those kind of stuff.
The policy is aimed at making sure that Nigeria become a better nation, but at start, we must all feel the heat.
We believe the end result will be glorious for Nigeria.
He has granted the bill for the student loan, and which will create a broader way for more students to get educated.
While expressing their hopes for the success of the current administration, Nigerians also implore President Tinubu to take further action to alleviate the prevailing economic hardships in the country.
He should create more job opportunities for the youth.
An appeal to the president to redesign his policy so that the masses will feel the impact of his administration.
With each passing day, Nigerians remain hopeful that with the adequate support and commitment of all stakeholders, a new Nigeria is indeed possible under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Our recent interventions by the Renewed Hope initiative targeting the employment of less privileged members of society has continued to draw needed attention even beyond the shores of Nigeria, with that recognitions coming with a wider frontier of collaboration with the pet project of Nigeria's First Lady. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that courtesy of an unfolding partnership with African Union Development Agency, a new batch of 200 indigent students will soon benefit from scholarship at the African School of Economics.
Meet the needs of the society, starting from its smallest unit, the family, women are naturally positioned to lead. So, when Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu received the Chief Executive Officer of Auda NEPAD, Grace Akobundu, in the villa, the discussion naturally veered towards how to make the world better with empowerment for development at the center. As shown by the National Scholarship Program recently flagged off by our pet project, providing access to education is one of the passions of Nigeria's First Lady, a point she did not fail to tell our guests.
If you are not innovative enough, we say those are developed world, if you are not innovative enough, you end up jobless. So to have a school where entrepreneurship is being driven, I think it's really, really well thought out by the founder of Princeton University. And I want to say Nigeria needs this innovation at this time.
To sustain the tempo of women empowerment, which is one of the key objectives of Auda NEPAD, partnership with relevant organizations such as the Renewed Hope Initiative is critical.
In this regard, African School of Economics has approached African Union Development Agency, NEPAD Nigeria, on their proposal to offer scholarship to 200 indigent children in Nigeria, in line with the Renew Hope initiative of Her Excellency, which they captioned as Senator Remi Tinubu Scholarship Fund. The project is designed to provide equal opportunity of access to the highest global standards of tertiary education to young Nigerians.
Entrepreneurship is one of the skills on the table for beneficiaries of the scholarship offered by the African School of Economics in strategic partnership with Princeton University.
We will give these scholarships to the most deserving. So the brightest scholars across the country, but who cannot ordinarily afford this level of education. These are the sorts of youth that we're looking out for.
In collaboration with Auda NEPAD Continental, Auda NEPAD Nigeria is working closely with 22 states in the country to build the capacity of smallholder farmers to boost their productivity. This is another area that may see a new collaboration with the RHI. In the State House, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
This news at 10 is reaching you live from Abuja. More reports ahead. Stay with us.